The heavyweight division is a division that is home to many great champions and influential figures. A two-time heavyweight champion, Anthony Joshua, is one of the most recognizable names in boxing. With a strong punch, versatility, and the ability to adapt his style, he possesses all the quality to reach an elite level of boxing. At 32 years old and in his peak, Joshua wants to prove to everyone that he is the best heavyweight in the world by entering a fight against Alexander Usyk. In this video, we will look at the development of this British puncher, who since 2014 has been among the top 10 heavyweights on the planet. On October 5th, 2013 in London, he made his debut against the undefeated Emmanuel Leo, who already had 8 fights. Before the fight, the Italian prospect said he was not ready to become a stepping stone for the 23-year-old African-British fighter, and that Anthony had unfairly received the Olympic gold medal. In the first round, Anthony immediately began to lead the fight. After briefly testing Leo with jabs, he began to break the Italian's defense with a right cross and hooks. He took advantage of the length of his arms and shot his opponent from a distance. And in the third minute, the Briton pinned the opponent in the corner and knocked out Emmanuel Leo with several powerful hooks. Leo never entered the ring again, ending his professional career with a record of 8-1. 20 days later, Anthony entered his second professional fight against Paul Butlin, who was 13 years older and more experienced. Butlin already had 33 professional fights, but had a negative record of 14-19. In the first round, Butlin missed nearly every jab. There was a powerful combination from Joshua with a left hook and a right cross to the head. Anthony was leading by a wide margin in accurate blows. In the first seconds of the second round, with the same combination of a left hook and a right cross, Anthony knocked Butlin down. He barely gets up, but manages to continue the fight, and now has a cut over his eye. Anthony attacks with several hard uppercuts and a hit to the liver, and then the referee stops the beating to prevent Butlin from taking too much damage. Butlin has 7 more fights, of which he only won 2, and in 2016, he hung up his gloves. 3 weeks later, Anthony Joshua entered the ring against Hoye Kizchek, who had a negative record of 5-6. Immediately after the bell, Anthony took the center of the ring and began to put pressure on his opponent. In the very first attack, Kizchek ran into an oncoming jab. Early in the second round, Kizchek tried again a couple of times with a Mike Tyson-style jumping left hook until he ran into an oncoming cross. A little later, Anthony carried out a combination of a left uppercut and 2 hooks and knocked down the Croatian fighter. Kizchek continued to fight but missed numerous powerful blows, and the referee stopped the fight. Hoye Kizchek ended his pro career in 2016 with a negative 11-22 record. On February 1st, 2014, Anthony Joshua fought in the ring against Dorian Darch, who had a professional record of 7-2 and most recently won on a series of 6 wins in a row. The fighters actively started the fight. At the end of the round, Anthony rocked Darch with a right cross, pinned him against the ropes, and landed a powerful combo. Dorian was saved by the bell. The start of the second round was the end for Darch. Joshua was pressing and didn't give his opponent a chance to attack at all. In the second minute of the second round, Joshua gets his 4th victory by TKO. Dorian Darch fought all of his professional fights in the UK and finished with a record of 12-12-1. Exactly a month later, Anthony entered the ring against Hector Avila. He was a two-time champion of Argentina and had won his first 7 fights. A year previously, he had fought Derek Chisora and lost in the 9th round by technical knockout. After the gong, Anthony immediately occupied the center of the ring. Avila tried to shorten the distance, but the Brit didn't let him do it, using his longer reach to his advantage. At the end of the 2nd minute, Anthony landed several uppercuts and hooks, and then pinned Avila against the ropes and delivered a series of powerful blows. Avila saved himself in the clinch, but after the referee separated the fighters, Anthony landed a single but deadly left hook. Hector Avila didn't get up. After this fight, he did not enter the ring for almost 2 years, and then he had 2 more fights, which he won, before retiring. 3 months later, Anthony Joshua fought fellow Brit Matt Legg. His professional record was 7-2, and about a year and a half before the fight, Matt fought the legendary 12-time IBF world champion James Toney, but lost to him by technical knockout. After the gong, Legg immediately rushed to the attack. He threw hooks, dived, and struck Anthony. This blow seemed to wake Joshua up, and he unleashed a powerful series of hooks and uppercuts on his opponent. After a brief clinch, Anthony landed a combination of hooks and finished with a hard right cross. He followed with a heavy uppercut and knocked Legg down. The referee stopped the fight in the 2nd minute of the 1st round. I would like to note that Matt's game plan worked against Joshua, but he did not have enough defense skills. Legg never entered the ring again.
Legg made him work, caught him with a couple of shots, put him under a little bit of pressure.
In July of the same year, Joshua entered the ring against Matt Skelton. He was a multiple world champion in kickboxing and Muay Thai. He also had good statistics in professional boxing, and his pro record was 28-8. In the 1st round, Skelton tried his best to lead the fight. Joshua tried to keep Skelton at distance with jabs, but he constantly tried to break into close combat, which ended in short clinches. In the 2nd round, Skelton missed several tight blows. Anthony pinned his opponent near the rope and fired a right hook at Matt's head with all his might. He added a right uppercut, and Skelton was knocked down. The veteran got up and immediately took a left to the jaw. He was thrown onto the ropes, and the referee intervened and stopped the fight. The 7th victory by knockout for Anthony Joshua, and Matt Skelton ended his professional boxing career after this fight.
Okay, Joshua's won a fight, we expected him to win, but again, you have to be...
Anthony's next opponent was Konstantin Eric. He was a German boxing champion and a former IBF Intercontinental champion. He successfully started his professional career with 10 victories in a row, but later became a journeyman and would take any fight without caring about his statistics. Throughout the 1st round, Eric landed only a few significant blows. In the 2nd round, Anthony threw more different combinations from different angles. Eric couldn't get close at all. At the beginning of the 3rd round, Eric beautifully dived under Joshua's cross and hit with a left hook, which made Joshua smile. But then, Anthony catches Eric with a hard right cross and near the ropes adds a series of powerful uppercuts and hooks. Eric gets down on his knee, but gets up and continues the fight. He immediately misses an incoming tight right cross and a heavy left hook. Much to Eric's displeasure, the referee stops the fight, the 8th knockout in Joshua's record. Konstantin Eric went on to fight 10 more times, winning only 2. The next fight was a month later for the WBC International Champion title. His opponent was Denis Bogtov. He was the Asian champion in several organizations, the heavyweight champion of Latvia, and his professional record was 38-9. It was another fight that Joshua enjoyed.
The crowd's caught fire as well. Joshua's quickest win ain't imputed.
At the end of the 1st round, the fighters simultaneously hit with good right hooks, which made Joshua laugh.
He counts a right hand as well. He loved it. Bogtov didn't.
It all ended, though, at the beginning of the second round. The Briton pinched the Russian near the ropes and began to hit with hooks from close range. At first, Bagtov was good at counterattacking, but it was evident that he was greatly shocked.
Powerful from Joshua, who's slicing him to ribbons here. Bagtov is so brave, he's standing up to this, but he is getting pounded, and Ian John Lewis did absolutely the right thing, because Bagtov...
The referee had no choice but to stop this beating. Anthony won the WBC International belt, and Denis Bagtov went on to fight 10 more times, winning only once. In November 2014, Joshua defended the WBC International title against Michael Sprott. Michael made his professional debut when Anthony was only 7 years old. At the time, his pro record was 42-22. This duel didn't last even 2 minutes. The fighters exchanged a few blows and tested each other. Sprott was able to hit Joshua and landed a good combination of hooks. Then, Anthony shakes Michael with a right cross and charges forward. He delivers a series of hooks to the body and to the head, and then the referee intervenes, putting a stop to the one-sided beating and giving Joshua his 10th victory in a row by knockout. Michael Sprott never tasted victory again. In April of the following year, Anthony faced Jason Gavern in the ring. Gavern had defeated champion James Toney in 2013 and fought Deontay Wilder in 2014, but lost. In the first round, Joshua dominated, bombarding the opponent from the center of the ring with jabs and various combinations. Gavern escaped by dragging the Briton into a clinch. Anthony delivered a good left hook which knocked Gavern down.
How long can he do that for?
I mean, it's awesome.
And there's the big right hand. Gavin in big trouble. The left puts him down for the second. That in itself would be a big achievement.
At the end of the round, Gavern missed an incoming uppercut but was saved by the bell. However, Joshua's next cross put an end to this confrontation in the second minute of the third round. Jason Gavern decided to retire 2 fights later with a record of 27, 21, and 4.
This is getting ugly here, and it's waved off.
For his 12th professional fight, Joshua entered the ring in May 2015 against Brazilian boxer Rafael Zumbano, who held several South American and Brazilian heavyweight boxing titles. There was a time when Zumbano had enjoyed a series of 15 victories, but he now alternated victories with defeats. Throughout the first round, Anthony broke the Brazilian's defense mainly with power blows, mixing them with various combinations of uppercuts to the body and hooks to the head. Zumbano didn't land any meaningful hits in the first round. At the beginning of the second round, Anthony struck Rafael with many hard blows and knocked him out with a heavy right hook. It was the 12th knockout win in Joshua's record. Rafael Zumbano is still fighting as a professional boxer. Anthony Joshua's next opponent was American Kevin Johnson. He was famous for fighting Vitaly Klitschko for the WBC title, and was only the second boxer to go 12 rounds against the champion. Also in 2012, Johnson boxed the current WBC world champion, Tyson Fury, and also went the full distance, but lost by decision. In the first round, Anthony threw single jabs and landed several quick attacks with series of hooks and crosses. At the end of the round, he knocked Johnson down with a series of hooks. He then conducted a series of finishing hooks and crosses and cut down Johnson with an uppercut after the bell. At the beginning of the second round, Joshua immediately unleashed his entire arsenal, delivering dozens of different punches on his opponent. There was nothing Kevin Johnson could do against that flurry of punches, let alone counterattack. And in the second minute, the referee stopped this beating. Joshua defended his WBC International title. In September 2015, Anthony faced undefeated Gary Cornish for the vacant British Commonwealth title. Gary was 6 foot 7 inches tall and had a rock-solid 21-0 record. However, the fight didn't even last 2 minutes. The fighters started out testing each other with jabs, and then Cornish, while attacking, ran into a tight jab and then into an oncoming hard right cross that knocked him down. Joshua attacked with a series of hard hooks to the jaw and put Gary on his knees in the corner of the ring. The referee counted to 10, but Cornish did not come to his senses. Anthony won the British Commonwealth title and simultaneously defended the WBC International title, while Gary Cornish received the first defeat of his career. The next rival for Joshua was a fighter that he had battled during his amateur career, Dillian Whyte. With a record of 16-0, Whyte was a former successful kickboxer, European champion, and 2-time British K1 kickboxing champion. In this fight, Joshua defended the titles and also fought for the BBB of C British heavyweight title. Both fighters started the first round actively. At the end of the round, Anthony landed several successful and varied blows to the head. After the bell, the fighters immediately engaged, and Joshua threw a hook at Whyte's head. In the middle of that second round, Anthony missed a hard left hook that shocked him. After that, Joshua's coach advised him to fight more carefully. Anthony adhered to the game plan, and although he sometimes missed powerful incoming blows, he hit more often and was more accentuated. The climax of this rematch came in the 7th round. Joshua landed a hard single right hook to the temple that severely shook Dillian. Anthony kept up the attack and finally cut down Whyte with an uppercut. Joshua successfully defended his titles, and Dillian went on a series of 11 victories in a row after this fight. In April of 2016, Anthony Joshua entered the ring against Charles Martin. Martin was a reigning IBF world champion, and this was his first title defense. Martin was also an undefeated fighter with an impressive 23-0-1 record. After the bell, the fighters started neatly, and after a short reconnaissance with jabs, Joshua hit the American's head and stomach with several crosses. Martin didn't throw a single significant punch in the entire round. At the beginning of the second minute, Anthony knocks the American down with a hard right cross. He gets up and receives another similar right cross, which sends him back to the floor of the ring. Joshua wins by knockout for the 16th time and becomes the owner of the IBF Championship belt. June 2016. Anthony was defending his IBF belt against undefeated Dominic Breazeale. He was a U.S. amateur champion, WBC Continental Americas champion, and had a 17-0 professional record. Before the fight, Dominic stated that he was guaranteed to take the IBF belt from Joshua. However, from the first seconds of the fight, Joshua dominated. Breazeale could not keep up with the speed of the Briton and mostly defended himself and tried to counterattack. Breazeale missed a lot but managed to bring the fight to the 7th round. At the very beginning of that round, Dominic catches a series of heavy blows and falls. He gets up, but Joshua finishes him with a series of blows to the head. This is the 5th undefeated boxer that Joshua has delivered a loss. After this fight, Breazeale went on a series of 3 victories in a row, then lost twice, and did not enter the ring for more than a year. In December 2016, Joshua re-entered the ring to defend his IBF title for the 2nd time, this time against Eric Molina. Molina, the former IBF Intercontinental Champion, North American Champion, and WBC United States Champion, was an experienced fighter and had fought opponents such as Deontay Wilder and Chris Arreola. And before being defeated by Arreola, he had been on a series of 17 victories in a row. The first round was led by Anthony, and the end of the round, Joshua picked up the pace and hit several hard blows, making Molina's fans nervous. In the middle of the third round, Joshua landed a heavy and accurate right cross that knocked Eric down. He got up, but Joshua landed a series of finishing hooks and uppercuts, and the referee stopped the fight. It was Joshua's 18th consecutive knockout victory. After this, Eric Molina continued his career as a professional boxer, alternating victories with defeats. The next opponent for Anthony Joshua was legendary Ukrainian boxer Vladimir Klitschko. At the time, Vladimir had lost all his belts after losing his last fight to Tyson Fury. But before that, from 2004 to 2015, he stood undefeated. In this fight, the vacant WBA and IBO titles were at stake, and also the IBF title, which was owned by Joshua. Klitschko worked in his usual manner. He threw a long jab and occasionally added a right cross. Anthony worked well on counterattacks with combinations and outplayed the Ukrainian. In the fifth round, Joshua launched an aggressive attack and knocked down Vladimir with a series of hooks and uppercuts. However, in the middle of the sixth round, Klitschko, using a powerful right cross, knocked Joshua down for the first time in his career. Going forward, the advantage passed from one fighter to the other, but in significant blows, Klitschko was slightly ahead of Joshua. However, in the 11th round, the Briton knocked Vladimir down with a heavy uppercut. The fight continued, but Vladimir had already received enough damage that he could not hold back the blows from Joshua. Joshua became the world champion with 3 belts, and Vladimir Klitschko hung up his gloves after this fight. In October 2017, Joshua defended his belts against French boxer Carlos Takam. The former WBF minor, IBF Intercontinental, WBC Silver, and WBO African Heavyweight Champion had an impressive 35-3-1 record. Joshua took the lead throughout the fight and continually pressed. There was a lot of close combat, which was convenient for Carlos with his size, but Joshua dominated here too. In the fourth round, Anthony knocked the Frenchman down with a short left hook. And in the 10th, he landed a double of tight hooks from close range and added another series of heavy hooks to the head. Takam was shocked but held on. However, the referee felt it was time to stop the fight. Carlos was outraged, and this controversial stop drew a lot of criticism. Joshua defended his titles and got his 20th consecutive knockout victory. With this victory, he broke the record of Mike Tyson, who had 19 knockouts in a row. New Zealand fighter Joseph Parker became the next contender for Joshua's titles. The undefeated Samoan had an impressive 24-0 record with 18 knockouts and was the WBO heavyweight champion. The WBO belt was still notably missing from Joshua's collection. The unification fight went the full distance, which was the first time in Anthony's career. Joshua continually put pressure on his opponent, especially in the second half of the fight. Parker threw more punches, but Joshua hit harder and more accurately. The fight went to the decision of the judges, who unanimously gave the victory to Anthony Joshua. The Briton was now the owner of every heavyweight belt except one, the WBC belt belonging to Deontay Wilder. As for Joseph Parker, 3 months later he lost again by decision to Dillian Whyte, and now he's on a series of 6 victories in a row and is the reigning WBO Intercontinental Champion.
To the scorecards, the 3 judges at ringside.
The next challenger for the WBA belt was Russian Alexander Povetkin, who was also an Olympic champion, as well as once a regular WBA world champion and an interim WBC world champion. He had an impressive record of 34-1, where Vladimir Klitschko gave him his only defeat. In the middle of the 7th round, Anthony hit Povetka with a heavy right cross to the jaw. He was shocked, and Joshua finished up with a series of powerful hooks, knocking him down. Povetkin got up, but did not have time to recover, and after Joshua attacked again with a series of blows to the head, the referee stopped this beating. Joshua successfully defended his belts and remained an undefeated fighter.
Blue Ribbon Division.
On June 1st, 2019, Anthony Joshua stepped into the ring again to defend his belts against Andy Ruiz, who had a record of 34 fights in his professional career and was defeated only once. Ruiz was a huge underdog in this fight, and the bookmakers gave him crazy odds of 25-1. In the first round, Ruiz took the center of the ring, but Anthony kept him at a distance with jabs. In the third round, Joshua sent the Mexican to the floor with a beautiful combination of a right uppercut and a left hook. Anthony looked like he would be able to end the fight right there and hit him with a powerful right cross. But then, in an exchange of blows, he missed an incoming hook from Andy. Joshua was shocked and knocked down. At the end of the round, under a hail of hooks and crosses, he was again on the ground, but managed to rise to the bell. At the end of the 6th round, Anthony was more passive and did not defend himself. And in the 7th round, he was shocked and knocked down once more under a hail of blows from Ruiz. He continued to fight but kneeled down after a series of blows to the head, causing the referee to stop the fight. Anthony Joshua received the first loss in his career. An interesting fact is that this was the first fight that Anthony had held in the USA, and before that, all of the fights were in his native UK. This fight became the upset of the year, and Andy Ruiz became the first Mexican world heavyweight champion. The rematch between Joshua and Ruiz took place 6 months later in December in Saudi Arabia. In the first round, Ruiz received a cut above the eye from a powerful right cross from Joshua. Anthony led the fight carefully and did not take risks. He outplayed the opponent due to his reach and the accuracy of his rare attacks. It was difficult for Ruiz to get close this time, and if it worked out, then Joshua would clinch. By the unanimous decision of the judges, Anthony won the rematch and returned all his titles to the UK. Bulgarian boxer Kubrat Pulev had been declared the mandatory contender for the IBF title, and Joshua faced him in December of 2020. Pulev spent 29 fights in the professional ring and only lost once to Vladimir Klitschko. In the third round, Pulev missed several heavy hooks, then another series of blows to the head, and he was knocked down. There were a lot of attacks from Kubrat, but Joshua skillfully shifted and powerfully counterattacked and was far ahead in significant punches. In the 9th round, the Bulgarian missed an incoming heavy uppercut and ended up on the floor of the ring, and then a powerful right cross put an end to this confrontation.
Down to the fight for Anthony Joshua, right hand, and down goes Pulev, and that's it. And there is your ferocious finish.
On September 25, 2021, in London, Anthony Joshua re-entered the ring to defend his multiple titles against the WBO mandatory challenger, Ukrainian boxer Oleksandr Usyk. Alexander was an undefeated fighter with an 18-0 record, but everyone around him said that he was small for a heavyweight and had a weak shot. The difference in the dimensions of the fighters was immediately obvious, but the Ukrainian compensated for this with speed of his movement around the ring. The fighters threw approximately the same number of punches, but Alexander was more accurate. Due to the technique of his footwork and timing, the Ukrainian outplayed Anthony, despite sometimes missing heavy blows. Usyk took the last 4 rounds and defeated the British champion by unanimous decision. Joshua again gave all his titles away, and again the underdog won the fight. The IBF, IBO, WBO, and WBA super belts left again for Ukraine, as in the days of the Klitschko brothers. On August 20th, 2022, the most anticipated fight of this year will take place. A rematch between British boxer Anthony Joshua and Ukrainian Oleksandr Usyk. All of the belts of the World Boxing Organizations are at stake except for one, which is now held by Tyson Fury. Anthony will try to take back his belts, and in all interviews expresses full confidence for this. For him, this is a very important fight in his career, so to speak, a turning point. Joshua wants to prove to everyone that he is the best heavyweight in the world. Will he be able to win? Or will Oleksandr Usyk manage to outplay him again? Write your opinions in the comments below.